Special thanks to PikaCurb2000 for providing us with today's MSM Draw. Submit a drawing prompt with the hashtag MSM Draw in this video for a chance for it to be drawn in the next one. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the lab. My name is Wiblix the Wiblix, and today we are spinning the final wheel in the cycle, which is the miscellaneous monsters. When we are done, it'll start back over at the naturals, so let's not waste any time. Alright, gonna open my eyes, and... Punkleton. Awesome. I've looked over the bios of the Punkleton, and there's not a lot that can help us in the biology department, so we're kind of on our own for this one. Don't worry though, because I believe the key to explaining how this monster works is right under our nose. Let's begin by examining the body of the Punkleton. Okay, we're done. The Punkleton is dissected. Let's see how we did. I'm kidding. Obviously, there's something going on with the bones in order to move around. Take a look at the joints of the Punkleton. They have leaves poking out of them. We can also see a few vines running up and down the monster's arms. Now, look at the stem on the Punkleton's head. Notice how it has the same leaves as the one on its body? This is evidence that these bones are not the Punkleton's true body. It is a plant after all. A more likely explanation is that there are multiple vines threaded throughout this monster's body inside of the bones. They can contract, which simulates the movement of muscle. And in areas where a joint is, the vines would have to be exposed to open air. In order to collect enough light for photosynthesis, the leaves would sprout wherever they are given a chance. The Punkleton would have most likely gotten these bones from another monster. Heck, maybe it's just fiberglass bones like the Fossilosaurus. Either way, the Punkleton would have grown into these bones for two reasons. To have enough support to stand up and move around, rather than being just a head in the ground, and also perhaps as protection for its vines. Plenty of animals love to snack on the tender green parts of plants. This could be the case in My Singing Monsters, given that all the monsters are vegan. What if Punkletons start out their lives as sentient smunkins, and have to build themselves a body? The vines could burrow their way through the soil until they find a skeleton to drag back beneath the Punkleton head. From there, the Punkleton could just spend some time growing into the bones, then wrench their way out of the ground. The only other thing about the Punkleton to talk about is the actual smunkin head. The Punkleton sings, which means it needs large lungs and voice box, all contained within the shell of the smunkin because there's no room for organs in the body. The Punkleton would also have a brain, hopefully, so there should be room for that. Now, honestly, I'm not entirely sure Punkletons have eyeballs. From what I see, there's just a piece of the smunkin shell moving around in the eye socket. I think that there's just some vines in there controlling those little pieces. Maybe the Punkleton can sense things some other way, like sampling chemicals in the air with its head stalk. My final note is on the suspicious looking incisions made on the top of the Punkleton's head. It looks as if someone had cut open the top of the smunkin. We know that whoever did this did not clean out the inside of the smunkin, because we can see guts hanging out of the rare Punkleton. What if Punkleton is an artificial creation? As in someone opened a smunkin, carved a face, and then placed a brain inside to give it life. This Frankenstein-like creation also lends to the spooktacle theming of this monster. Food for thought. We do know that the Thumpies were one of the first recorded monsters to carve faces into smunkins, but where on earth would they get brains from? Ignore that. Well, I guess we got everything we could learn about the Punkleton. Let's roll the footage. let's talk for a moment about rare and epic Punkleton. The rare variant of this monster seems to be significantly more decomposed than its common counterpart. As such, it uses a bag to hide its face. We can see the horror of what lies beneath. According to monster handler Matt in the 2021 Extra Life stream, the decomposing Smunkin emits a bright bioluminescent glow like a light bulb, which is interesting because lore-wise we don't see any coming out through the bag, but we can just attribute that with sprite continuity. The rare Punkleton has bones that are hued greenish. This could be a result from being exposed to moisture for an extended period of time. It caused moss and gross stuff to grow upon the bones and the Smunkin to molder and fall apart. A notable feature about this rare is the heart in its ribcage. This is most likely the rare Punkleton's lungs that it moved out of its head and into its ribcage to protect it. Without the protection of a hard head like the regular Punkleton, it would want to move it into the next safest place in its body, the ribcage. And in the case of the brain, which it can't move anywhere else, it dons a protective bag to shield it from the elements and hide its ghastly face. The epic Punkleton is on the other side of the spectrum. If we think about it, the three Punkletons represent the three stages of pumpkin growth: unripe, ripe, and overripe. It does not have any evidence of carving on the top of its head, leading me to believe that the epic Punkleton became sentient on its own with no outside help. The bio does state that it carves its own face, in contrast to the common and rare with evidence that someone else did. In the case of the epic Punkleton, the vines inside its bones have not grown enough to burst from the joints as leaves or smaller tendrils, further hinting at how young it is. Additionally, its bones are a shade of yellow, hinting at the fact that they are mildly older than the bones of its common counterpart. This just means that the epic found a skeleton that was under the ground longer than the others, and has not yet been subjected to the weathering that the rare possesses. So that sums up my thoughts and remarks regarding the trio of Punkletons. As always, I'd like to thank you for watching. If you have any questions, comments, or critiques, let me know. But in the meantime, you have been watching Creeptanium, and I'll see you all later. Okay, you guys, you better be responsible with these brains, and, whatever you're gonna do with them.
When have you known us stuffies to be troublemakers?
2 hours later.